Welcome to The Explainer. So what if one of the most pivotal events in modern history wasn't at all what it seemed? Today, we're going to break down a really fringe, esoteric interpretation of September 11th, 2001. This is all based on a detailed online analysis that presents the day's events as, get this, a meticulously planned occult ritual.
All right, let's just jump right in. The source material we're looking at, well, it doesn't pull any punches. Its central claim is that the event was a dark sun ritual sacrifice, a form of what it calls high black magic. The idea is that this wasn't just a physical attack, but a metaphysical one with a global impact. So according to this interpretation, this wasn't some back alley ritual. No, this was performed right out in the open, using Kabbalistic principles. The goal, it claims, was to generate this massive wave of collective fear and trauma. Basically, to cast a kind of spell on the world by targeting something called the middle pillar, which is a concept representing balance and equilibrium. Now, to really get a grip on this, we have to talk about something the author calls chaos magic. The argument is that this modern form of magic was used in a super sophisticated, large-scale way to orchestrate the whole thing. And it was supposedly done by a hidden group the source calls the Kabbalistic Shepherds. Okay, so this brings us to the buildings themselves, the Twin Towers, and that mysterious third building that collapsed, World Trade Center 7. In this view, they weren't just buildings, not even close. They were loaded with symbolic meaning. You see, the Twin Towers weren't just skyscrapers. They were seen as these two giant pillars representing duality, good and evil, male and female, light and dark, all those opposing forces. So their destruction becomes this huge symbolic act of breaking down that duality to create something new. A single, unified reality. A singularity. And the symbolism gets really specific. The source gives each tower these opposing values. The North Tower, that's Joachim. It's male, it's the sun, and it represents Christians. The South Tower, on the other hand, is Boaz, female, the moon, representing Muslims. The entire event is framed as this epic, symbolic clash between these two forces. And this is where that third tower, Building 7, becomes absolutely crucial to the whole theory. Its collapse is seen as the key to the entire ritual. It represents the middle pillar, the point of balance between the sun and moon pillars. The source actually calls its collapse a deliberate, occult signature, the final piece needed to complete the symbolic trinity of sun, moon, and star. So the big question is, why September 11th? Why that specific date? Well, according to this analysis, it was anything but random. The date itself was supposedly chosen because it's a powerful numerological key, holding the secret to the event's real meaning. And to unlock all this, the author leans heavily on a system called gematria. It's this ancient practice where you assign numerical values to letters and words. The idea is that it lets you find these hidden connections between different things. And honestly, it's absolutely fundamental to this entire theory. One of the first major connections they make is to Tisha B'Av, which is a historic day of mourning in Judaism. It commemorates the destruction of the first two temples in Jerusalem. The source claims that this historical event has the exact same numerological signature as September 11th. And check this out. Here's how they connect the dots. The word Tisha means ninth. Av is the 11th month on the Jewish civil calendar. So Tisha B'Av is literally the 9th day of the 11th month. But it gets deeper. The source also claims that if you take the Hebrew words for Tisha B'Av and calculate their gematria value, it equals 911. Then, to really hammer the point home, the analysis points us to a pretty specific Bible verse, Revelation, chapter 9, verse 11. It talks about an angel of the bottomless pit, a king whose name in Greek is Apollyon, which literally means the destroyer. It doesn't stop there. The source even brings in pure mathematics. It presents this equation, and when you solve it, you get this incredible number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a perfect pyramid of numbers going up from 1 to 9 and right back down. This is interpreted as a mathematical formula for creation and destruction, of conjuring matter from the 0 point.
Okay, so let's see where this is all going. How does this all tie together? Well, the whole thing is framed not just as an act of destruction, but as this grand, epic transformation, described in the ancient language of alchemy. The author argues that what happened after the attack, collapsing two towers and then building one new one, the Freedom Tower, wasn't just about rebuilding. It was actually the planned final stage of the ritual, the symbolic act of turning two into one. And this whole process is laid out like a classic alchemical recipe, something called the Great Work. The Twin Towers, they were the lead, the raw basic material of the old dualistic world. And the single Freedom Tower, that's the alchemical gold, the perfected, unified result, symbolizing the birth of a new age.
All right, for the final piece of the puzzle, the source zooms way out. It starts pointing to other symbols it claims are all part of the same hidden signature and argues that these symbols have been hiding in plain sight all along, baked right into the American landscape.
And I mean, a lot of different details get pulled in here. The five-sided pentagon is linked to the five-pointed Star of Sirius. The Statue of Liberty gets reinterpreted as a high priestess. Even a tragic detail, like the fact that one of the service dogs who died was named Sirius, is presented as being significant. It all gets woven together. It even goes as far as to decode the famous Freemason symbol of the square and compass. The argument is that the standard angles of these tools can be reduced using numerology. The square, right? That's a 90-degree angle. 9 plus 0 is 9. The compass is often set to 47 degrees. 4 plus 7 is 11. Put them together, and you get 911.
So after all that, what are we supposed to take away from this? What we've looked at is an incredibly complex, layered alternative narrative. It's a wild example of how you can take symbols, numerology, and alchemy and weave them together to tell a story that is completely different from the one we all know. And it really leaves us with a provocative question. Could major historical events actually carry a hidden symbolic language, one that's only meant to be understood by a select few?